1, 2, 3, check. But they can only count to 3 apparently. Jack, we still miss you. Get healthy before you come back, but we miss you. I have your paper right here. It's making me miss you. Alright, so here's the deal, guys. Chapter 7 Schoology folder keeps changing. Of course, this is still your first 5 minutes. I'm just passing out papers. But like to go over the announcements that are up here, I keep adding stuff into that folder as people come and ask questions and show me that they're struggling on things. So if you were doing your 711 when you were supposed to, and you came and talked to me about things, that also made me realize, like, oh, maybe I should like put up a little extra help with association of lines, or maybe I should put up extra help about a line of best fit. And especially if you're working ahead, you're gonna probably get confused. Because you're working ahead, there are things I have likely not taught you yet. Right? That would make sense when you're working ahead. Speaking of your head, why can't your nose be 12 inches long?
I don't know, bro.
Why can't your nose
It's
be
not a
12?
foot!
Because then it'd be a foot. So, don't worry, you won't have to survive too many of my math or my dad or whatever jokes you want to call them. We're in here for the whole block. But we will take a break at some point. Probably not while the other classes are switching. We will take a break at some point. We will open up the wall at a point and spread out to make our posters. So, in case you're one of the people that might be like, an hour plus of math, which I think you're in the wrong class if you're saying, ugh, an hour plus of math. But you could be good at math and not necessarily love it. But don't worry, we will break this up into different sections. All right. Your 5 minutes technically is still going. Right? And that's why it's hard for me to give it up. 711. This is due today. The answer key is in Schoology. But like, this is when you get it done on your own, you should be going to check, like, did I do it correctly? Guys, even if you already did it and turned it in, even if you already got a check, on this, guys, a lot of us have these translated points wrong, and that's making me nervous. Because in that problem 11, it's just asking you, graph this shape, it ends up being a trapezoid. Even though it doesn't look like this, it doesn't have to look like this to be a trapezoid. If it looks like that, it's still a trapezoid, right? So anytime we have like top and bottom parallel, but the other side's not, that's trapezoid. So if you are frantically writing down answers, stop. You can cheat on your own time. I want to know if anyone has any yeah, I tried that and couldn't do it. I just don't know what I'm doing. Like that translation problem, I think some of us maybe just threw some numbers down without really thinking about it. So please, if you're still working on 711, care about that a little bit, because I do look at your assignments, and when they're wrong, it makes me nervous that we don't know what we're doing. This is on Schoology. If you're trying to get to your answers, you can get to them. But if you didn't do the homework that was assigned 2 days ago, if you haven't thought about, like, are you using your plan book? And by that, I mean opening it up after you've written it to check, what's my homework? Did I do it? Do you need to write down due dates? Right? That now we're switching, that not everything's due on Friday. Still 2 days. Right? Like, ask yourself, am I doing what I need to keep track of my homework? Are there any burning questions? Like, yeah, that was really difficult. I didn't know. I didn't understand. I couldn't get to that answer. Heard?
Although I've already done it now, I was having trouble with 7-8.
8, the circle graph.
Yeah.
So you want to take those values and compute percents by doing part divided by whole. Right? So you're going to take the part they tell you, divide it by the whole, and I'm actually just going to pull it up here because I think it's quicker to get to the homework this way. So you have a table full of data. First things first, you got to total it. Right? So you're going to total this table. And I would just write it here at the bottom. And then you're going to find your percentages by doing like 90 divided by that total. Right? So I'll do one real quick with you guys. So for getting that percentage of bus, See, this is where I got to move our teams now, so I don't show your guys' last names. That's why I showed you your teams already. All right, so if we did part divided by whole, so 90, you said it's 240, Lydia? Can I trust you? Okay. So then what do I have to do to that decimal number to get it to percent form? Yeah, I mean, in the calculator, I got to do times 100, right, to move the decimal. But you in your brain can just say move it as 37.5%. So that's how we're going to get those percentages to get to a circle graph that looks similar to this. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it should look similar to this. Alan? We are going to go over that. I'm just going to move it, since you just asked. We're going to move it up here. Let's talk about 710. So everyone should have their papers, whether you already got a check or haven't turned it in yet, to figure out if things have no or multiple or one solution. You could either go back and double check in my Schoology. This page? This page? Something. Let me scroll. So, I have a video posted here. I don't like how it won't let me scroll. Systems of equations, how many solutions? If you need a refresher beyond what I do in class right now. A kind of jumps out at us. Why am I saying A kind of jumps out at us? Harrison?
Because it's the slope is the same in both of them.
Yeah, not just the slope, like x plus 4y, x plus 4y. They're identical? So can one thing that equals 2 also equal 10? No. So this is where we get one of those situations where we use our handy dandy no solution symbol, which I'm using over on the homework board for when homework is not due, right? Tuesday, Wednesday, they just got that no solution symbol. But in B, there's a couple different ways you can do this. And one of, I forget it was this class or the other class, just wrote down divided by 2. And I wrote like, okay, so what? And I think what they meant was take this one, the top one, and divide it by 2, which then would give us x plus 2y equals 5. Negative. Wait a minute. And the second equation is x plus 2y equals negative 5. They're the same. So what does this mean in form, like when we're talking about graphing the line? So they're parallel, but also the same literal line. What's our abbreviation to say that, like, well, we have infinitely, so, like, I know some of you want to try to do this. That's not really the notation we use for, like, we have infinite solutions. This is reminders. We haven't done it in a while. All what? All real
Numbers.
You can plug in any real number, and it'll work. So when we have infinitely many solutions, we really can say all real numbers. That's really the notation that we use. Questions? Who asked about 10? Did that help? Did that help? Okay. All right, so then other issues from other homeworks.
7.1. Sorry, I already has 40.
Okay, well, which one?
7-8. I did 30 over 240. I got 0.125.
Yeah, and then they turned that into 12.5 because you moved the decimal 2 places.
Oh, it's 2. Okay.
Yeah, times
I'm
100.
just tired today.
No, times 100. Confucius say, I already told you guys that one, right? Man who run in front of car get tired. Man who run behind car get exhausted. Get it? Tired. Exhaust.
It's a good one.
Alright, from chapter 6 homeworks though, guys, in this problem, and a lot of you already have checks on this, I just want to talk about it because we're going to work on the test again tomorrow. When we ask you to go into y equals mx plus b form, that really just means isolate your y. Get your y by itself. Do algebra, right? The on both sides stuff. So like for egg, what would we do to get y by itself? Add 4x. Where? On both sides. It's been like weeks, guys. It's It's been weeks since I've done that. So here's one issue that I saw from people. They like subtracted 3x here and then left it as 2y equals 12 minus 3x, or you could have done negative 3x plus 12. I need to isolate y. I need one of them. How do I get from 2y to 1y? Divide by 2, and don't make your life harder than it needs to be, because it's already hard, right? Like, math is hard. You could leave your answer like that. Or, what's 12 divided by 2? 6. So we could say, okay, I know that this is 6, but the negative 3 divided by 2 is, I believe that in fraction form because slope is better as a fraction. Slope is better as a fraction. If you want a reminder on how we approach slope, this is going to save you a whole lot of time from making your own graph for the first problem that we do together. Look at the back of this paper. Look at the back of this paper. I know I'm putting it in front of you face up, but look at the back of this paper. Some of us need this reminder. I think there's 2 there. You guys can split those up. Look at the back of this. This is a page straight out of my math notes that I keep trying to convince you guys to open up in Schoology and actually use. So if you go to the Chapter 7 math notes, this is one of the pages in it. I just wanted to pull it to put it in front of your face and say they're useful. It's a PDF. If you want a printed copy, I've got 3. I can make more. But guys, slope, the change in y compared to the change in x, it's better left as a fraction. Sure, we could make that negative 1.5. That's not going to help us when we go to graph it. When you go to graph things, slope is better as a fraction. Here, a couple people, if I can get eyes please, I'm trying to help you avoid mistakes on the test also. And not just this test, but any test, right? What number in C is being distributed? Negative 2. A few people forgot the negative altogether. A couple people put the negative 2 on the x and forgot to make the 12 negative. Guys, this is what I've been cautioning you about with distributive property. Make sure that you're paying attention to what number is getting distributed, and make sure you do the second arrow correctly. That's where most mistakes happen, is that the big arrow, right? Going to the second number here. That's where people like to make their mistakes. A lot of us on 97 from 6 to 5, yeah? So guys, a lot of us did this wrong. I've been talking about this poster being here. I'm about to have to move it back there so I can use this whiteboard. But guys, this poster is a really good reference as we're talking about lines and graphing and doing things like that. A horizontal line has a slope of 0. Vertical line has an undefined slope, but this, I might add a couple post-its to here. This is where x equals 5, still x equals 5, still x equals. Guys, vertical lines are x equals. So our line of y equals 2.5 is the line where all of the locations where y is 2.5. So I made my line dotted just to make it a dotted line up here. But literally, y equals 2.5 should be the line all the way across at every value of y equals 2.5. So then when we reflect across that, our shape comes up here. And then it looks like a C for G's.
Academy, do you copy?
No. Mr. Bluewell will probably say something funny now. They'll say, no, we do our own work. They don't copy, they do their own work. And some of us on this homework just did not really read. I told you guys pick 2, but you're still supposed to, if it shows you the tiles, you're supposed to make a table on a graph. And the rule, the equation. If it gave you the equation, you're supposed to make table, graph, show the other representations. So a couple of you guys got to check minus of just like you kind of phoned it in, of like you did very little and not enough to show that you actually know what's going on. Be careful here. What's the trap door in D? It's negative. That's one trap door. This looks like 1 square, 1 square. Our slope here is negative 2 over 1 because that's 2 per square. This is 1 per square. All right, those are the main issues that I saw going through the homeworks that have been turned in the past few days. Any other big questions where you're like, yeah, I struggled on this? I'd like to go over it before we work on the test again tomorrow. Right?
So from 6.2.5, I've seen this, but I'm stuck confused. On the back, I mirrored it, and then across the line, I either did the line incorrectly, or I mirrored it incorrectly, or both. So I was like,
I got to find the problem that you're talking about.
It was I think it was the last 97.
Oh, the one that we just talked about? 97 is the one that I just, like, right here. This is 97. So, your first shape is the orange shape. Then we rotate around 0.21, right? Around, so that point's not gonna move. So imagine that like this, grab the bottom right-hand point, and we say rotate. This point doesn't move, the rest of the shape does. Then, when we reflect across the line y equals 2.5, it comes, gravity works. It comes up because you reflect across the horizontal line. Yeah, go ahead.
See, I think I know what I did wrong. I went
Oh, yeah.
2 over, and then I went 1 over, and then 2 up.
You switch your
and
x
I
and your
kept
y?
doing it. No, because there wasn't an x in front of the, or behind, or whatever. The x wasn't attached to the 2.5, so I just saw it as like a line.
Yeah, so guys, not 2.5x. Not 2.5x. Just 2.5. Not x equals 2.5. Y equals 2.5.
Huzzah.
And guys, this is when, like, come on. Use your resources. What can we go to like, check what lines look like? That was the wrong Desmos because it was going to take me to my teacher page. Go to Desmos. Type in y equals 2.5. Oh, hey, look. Like, use your resources. Come on, guys. You got to be able to put in a little bit of effort. All right, let's have a lesson. So we are going to go car shopping. You don't actually probably want to go car shopping because they're expensive. But Nate and Rick, very solid names that we don't really have any Nates or Ricks here, I don't think. I haven't seen a student named Rick in a while. My dad's name is Rick.
My grandma's ex-boyfriend is named Rick.
All right, so except for this paper, you don't need anything else out right now. So if you're overwhelmed by the amount of papers you have, keep this out. The graph that I made for you, keep this out. You can put everything else like in your binder, in a stack, whatever. I tried to make your life easier today. So why would I make you keep looking up at the board to see the table when I could put it in front of you? So anyone want to read, especially if someone's already gotten the paper that I'm passing out right now?
I want to read.
Carter, go ahead. Read about Nate and Rick.
Okay. Nate and Rick were discussing cars once again. Nate claimed that cars with low odometer readings. Odometer.
What's the odometer?
How far it's traveled.
How far it has traveled. The odometer.
They were
Read this out.
Yeah, the mileage.
more
What is
expensive.
on.
No, that's different.
Oh,
that's your
the
homework.
odometer is what measures it.
All right. Everyone have one of these.
Mileage is
Yes.
Hold up.
the number.
Everyone have one of these. Make sure you're reading along with Carter so you're looking at the right paper. Odometer tells you how far you've driven. Go ahead.
Nate claimed that cars with low odometer readings were more expensive than cars with higher odometer readings. His evidence was that his car with 23,000 miles was worth more than Rick's car with 31,000 miles.
Are miles on a car a good thing? It's like age, right? Miles on a car is kind of like the age of it. Because it doesn't really matter like when the car was made. It matters more how much it's been driven, right? Like how much damage has potentially been done to it. Okay, go ahead. To investigate.
To investigate Nate's claim, the boys collected data from several car advertisements and found the information in the table at the right. Does the information in the table support Nate's claim? That is, do you believe Nate's claim that cars with a lower odometer reading cost more money?
Odometer.
Odometer.
Odometer. Makes it sound like it's like how much it smells.
I know.
Like the odometer. Like
Odor.
Alright, so here's the deal. You're going to use this table, and you're going to use this graph, which you're welcome, that I already made, labeled, gave it a title, did everything that you're supposed to do aside from plotting the points. We're going to plot these points on this graph to make sure that we're comfortable plotting these points. Hold on, though, because I want to tell you where we're headed to make sure you actually think about some things while we go. If I didn't make this for you, and you just had graph paper, you would need to figure out how to scale based off the size of your graph paper, right? And your y-axis and your x-axis are often not going to involve the same scale, especially when they have different labels, right? So we're used to like the graph is 1-to-1 and we're not worried about labels, right? When we're just working with a regular x-y axes. Now we're starting to work with some actual data where we got to scale. Are you guys okay? Because it's real distracting to me. So just personally, if you could stop for me, please. So we're going to plot these points, then we're going to draw a line of best fit. If you don't know what a line of best fit is, that's why I have a job, to teach you. So I'm going to give you at least 5 minutes, see if we have all the points plotted by then. But then after this, and after we figure out was Nate's claim correct, I'm going to give you some other data, and you're going to get to make a graph on here. So now this is going to kind of be a competition because the third block is also going to make graphs with the same data.
Yeah, but we're better.
We'll see.
Objectively,
We'll see whose
We are
graphs
objectively
are better. We'll see. That is yet to be determined.
The
All right.
graphs are.
Any questions about how you're graphing these points right now? I already set up your scaling. The y-axis is by the thousands, right? I think y-axis, yeah. And so is the x-axis, actually. So when they show you the x and y-axes, they're actually counting in thousands, right? So like 50 really means 50,000. You guys know what you're doing?
I'll live it.
Graphing points. Feel free to use a highlighter to graph them if you want, but you can't erase highlighter. So you better be really confident if you're going to use a highlighter. All right, 5 minutes, go. Yes. I mean, you guys are using the same data, right? Are you talking about the next thing we're doing? They're going to be 5 groups, 5 different sets of data.
Would Chase Reister please report
No!
for just a moment?
Hold on, I'm going to ask them why they want you.
For just a moment, please.
It's because I love my
Fine, go. Because if it was just a message, I was just going to relay the message to you now. But... All right, so start graphing them points.
Stroking this line isn't very pretty. Well, sorry, it's not.
That's rude. I think the line is beautiful in its own way.
I'm a man of truth.
Now, you better not be trying to make a line already.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm plotting the points.
I was about to say, we got to do all the points first. Got to do all the points first.
But what about all the other like parts of the car that might be affecting the price?
This is the data that we have. So we're just plotting these points and seeing what we find out.
Oh, one.
Did you It would look like a what?
A Tetris piece, but not a Tetris piece. It's more than 4 pieces. I don't even know if they're gonna be.
Isn't this the odometer?
The odometer.
This is acting like as our x-axis. This is acting as our y-axis. Do you need a fresh copy or an eraser or anything? Did you actually need a 35. You switched. You learned to talk to this. That's why friends should do something. So, line best fit is not. Do not draw a line yet. I guess I should say, do not draw a line yet. Because we got to talk about what line of best fit is. So actually, good moment to just take a moment and refer to, and then we'll see if my page gets flagged for this or not. But I'm not going to stop my recording for this. In the Chapter 7 folder, scatter graphs, which a lot of other countries call them scatter plots or scatter graphs instead of scatter plots. You might want to pause what you're doing and take a little listen for a moment.
You're watching